class on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Volume 1, Chapter 1, Text Number 4, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on March 28, 1975, in Mayapur, India.
May that Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Saci-devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chambers of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation ever offered before, the most sublime and radiant spiritual knowledge of the mellow taste of his service.
Anarpita charing chirata karunayavati nakalo samappayatam unnata ujjalarasang sabhakti sriyam hari purata sundaradduti kadamma sandipitaha sada hridaya kandare suratu ba sachinandana. This is the blessings of Srila Rupa Goswami upon everyone. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Sanga Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantika. We should pray to Rupa Goswami for his blessings so that we can understand what is the actual position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most merciful incarnation to bestow upon us Krishna Prema. Srila Rupa Goswami understood it. Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya understood it, and we should take their viewpoint of view, what they have studied about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Srila Rupa Goswami says, in the beginning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was appreciated by Srila Rupa Goswami as Mahavadana Avatar. There are many incarnations of Krishna. Keshavadhrita Meena Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Keshavadhrita Nrisingha Rupa Jaya Jagadisha. Many incarnations. But this incarnation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is anarpita charing chira. The mercy of this incarnation is unlimited. It was never given before. That is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. He distributed the most confidential part of love of Godhead. Although we are living in this fallen age, Kali Yuga, but he is giving the topmost platform of loving Krishna. Anarpita charing chira. Therefore he is supposed to be the most munificent incarnation. Namo Mahavadana. Krishna Prema Pradayate. He is giving directly Krishna Prema. It is very difficult to understand Krishna and what to speak of his loving affairs. It is very difficult. Manusyanam sahasreshu kaschid jadati siddhaya jadatam api siddhyanam kaschid vetti mam tattva. Krishna personally says that it is very difficult to understand him. Actually it is so. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy is so unlimited that he is helping not only to understand Krishna, but also he is giving directly love of Krishna. And this supermost platform of love, as it was experienced by the gopis. The gopis dealing with Krishna is considered to be the topmost. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he recommended Ramma Kachi Dupasana Brajavadhu Varga Bhija Kalpita. Brajavadhu, the gopis, the dancers of Vrindavan, they worship Krishna in the topmost loving affairs. They did not know anything but Krishna. For Krishna they could sacrifice anything. Their honor, their prestige, everything. Their husband, their sons, family, that is the gopis' standard. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation is accepted by Srila Rupa Goswami in many verses. One of the verses is here, Anarpita Charinchira, Karunayavati Nakalo. So we should take shelter of Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the blessing of Rupa Goswami. He says, Hari Purata Sundara Dhuti Kadamma Sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratuva Sachinandana. He is giving his blessing that this form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, may always remain within you, on the core of your heart. If we simply keep Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu within our heart, then it will be very easy to understand what is Krishna. Because if you understand Krishna, then your life is successful. Janma karma cha dibbam me jujanati tattva. That is only. Our Krishna consciousness movement means just try to understand Krishna. Then your life is successful. Krishna says, anyone who understands me, why I come here, what is my activity, takta dehang punarjana, he becomes liberated. After giving up this body, he does not accept any material body. In his own spiritual body, he goes back to home, back to God. This is our Krishna consciousness. So, if you don't go through Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it will be very difficult to understand Krishna. That is practical. Just like you young boys and girls from Western countries, you have taken up Krishna so seriously. Why? Because we are trying to understand Krishna through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, we should follow this principle. There will be no difficulty to understand Krishna. And as soon as you understand Krishna, your life is successful. Of course, we cannot understand Krishna fully. As far as possible, at least if we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, this much is sufficient. This much is sufficient. Krishna Su Bhagavan Sayam. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Matta parataram nanyat kinchijasti dhananjaya aham sarvasya prabhava aham adirihi devanam. These things are there, already stated. But the so-called scholars and politicians, they misinterpret in a different way and mislead the people. That is going on. Therefore, in spite of Bhagavad Gita being read all over the world for the last 200 years, not a single person became a devotee of Krishna. This is the defect. So, let us try to understand Krishna through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as we have repeatedly said, that through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu you understand Krishna and spread this cult all over the world. People are suffering for want of knowledge of Krishna. So this movement especially meant to establish the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that you become, every one of you become a guru. How to become guru? Jare dakho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. Simply, that qualification is sufficient. Don't adulterate the Krishna upadesh. Is simply present what Krishna says as it is. Then every one of you will become a guru. Don't adulterate. I think, in my opinion, these nonsense things should be given up. We should always be aware that we are insignificant creature, our opinion and thinking has no value. This should be the first principle. Why should you give opinion on the words of Krishna? Are you more authoritative person than Krishna? This is foolishness. To try to become more than Krishna. There are so many rascals. They present that now we have advanced, we know more than Krishna. So be saved from these rascals. Then you will understand Krishna, and through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu you will understand what is the position of Krishna, what is your relationship with Krishna, what is the ultimate goal of life. These things will be clearly exhibited. And Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is written for this purpose, so that a person who is serious about Krishna consciousness may understand Krishna through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is one. You cannot jump over Krishna consciousness without going through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And to go through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means to go through the 6 Goswamis. This is parampara system. Therefore Narottam Das Thakur says, Ei chhay Gosai jar tarmi das, tasavar padorenu mora pancha gras. This is parampara system. You cannot jump over. You must go through the parampara system. You have to approach through your spiritual master to the Goswamis, and through the Goswamis you will have to approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu you have to approach Krishna. This is the way. Therefore Narottam Das Thakur says, Ei chhay Gosai jar taramui das. We are servant of servant. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction. Gopi bhattu padakamalayo daso daso dasanu daso. The more you become servant of the servant, the more you are perfect. And if you all of a sudden want to become master, then you go to hell. Don't do that. This is the teaching of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you go through the sermon, then you are advanced. And if you think that you have now become master, then you are going to hell. This is the process. Dasa dasanudasa. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. So servant, 100 times servant now, that means he is advanced. He is advanced. And one who is becoming directly master, then he is in hell. Sanatpita charing chira. So we should always remember the instruction of Srila Rupa Goswami. Therefore, we pray, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitang Jena Bhutale. Our mission is to establish the desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is our business. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitang Jena Bhut. Srila Rupa Goswami did it. He has given up so many books, especially Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which I have translated into English as Nectar of Devotion, to understand the science of devotional service. This is the greatest contribution of Srila Rupa Goswami, how to become a devotee. How to become a devotee. It is not sentiment, it is science. This Krishna consciousness movement.
The following is a class on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Volume 1, Chapter 1, Text number 9, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on April 2nd, 1975, in Mayapur, India.
I offer my full obeisances under the feet of Sri Nityananda Rama, whose partial representation called Karnadakashaya Vishnu, lying on the Karna ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy, and the shelter of all the universes.
Maya bhatta ajanda sangasrayangam sitesh sakshat karanam bodhi madhe jasyaikangsha sri pumanadi deva tam sri nityananda ramam prabhadve. Yesterday we discussed about Purnaisajya, Sankarshanakham, Nityananda Ramam, the deity, the superintending deity of the spiritual world. Here also, anywhere, the master is Krishna in his different forms. So, just like for management, we expand some secretaries or personal representative. Similarly, there is good management also in Krishna's affairs. The original person is Krishna, and his expansions they are also as good as Krishna, but departmental. So we have discussed yesterday that in the spiritual world, Sankarshan is the supreme manager. And so far the material world is concerned, the same person is the Supreme, but his name is different. Karunabdhi Sai. In the spiritual world, the name is Sankarshan, and the material world, the Supreme Superintendent is also the same person, but name is different. Karanabdhi Sai. This Karanabdhi Sai is Maya Bharta. Bharta means husband. Just like a husband begets children in the womb of the wife, similarly all these universes are impregnated in the total material energy, Maya, by Karanabdhi Sai, Vishnu. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham bija padapita. Sarvajoni shukavantiya sambhavanti mutaya ya. Tasanga mahajjani brahma. Aham bija padapita. The Bijapada Pita, the father, is the seed-giving person, and the mother is receiving this seed, and then she is impregnated and they develops the body. As we have got experience, the creation, the creative energy, this is going on, the same process everywhere. So, this Karanabdhi Sai Vishnu, we have already discussed to some extent, is the origin of this material creation. That the scientist says that, I do not know exactly what is their theory, but so far I've heard that there are so many theories. One of them is there was a chunk, and from that this material world, they have no idea what is material world, spiritual world. But in that way, creation took place. Can anyone say what is the theory or of creation? Can any one of you say? What do they say about the creation?
Yeah, one theory is that there's a big chunk, and then from that everything else came.
It exploded. Explosion, Big Bang. Big Bang, big explosion.
So what from the chunk came? And that is not. That is their brain fact, that they are simply trying to get everything from matter. That is their material brain. But we see here that the origin is not matter. Origin is Vishnu, Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu is the supreme soul, Mahavishnu. So we cannot accept such nonsense theory that chunk exploded. Where is the evidence that a chunk explodes automatically? How nonsense theory it is. We have got experience, there is explosion of big mountains when there is dynamite. And the dynamite is given by some person. So how explosion can take place without the hand of somebody else, some living entity? This simple theory, they cannot understand that where is the evidence that matter acts automatically. Where is the evidence? How you can say that there was a chunk? Suppose there was a chunk. First of all, the question will be who made this chunk? And then again, the next question will be how explosion took place unless there was some living being to explode. As we have got experience that sometimes we explode the mountain with dynamite, and that is arranged by a living being. Yeah. They have no common sense even, and they are passing as big philosophers, scientists. And where is the evidence? Can anyone say? Is there any evidence that matter explodes without a living being's touch? Is there any? No.
The sun.
Huh?
So many explosions are going on in the sun every day.
That is the same thing that Bishchik Tondulonna. Explosion is going on, but behind that, all these explosions, all these transformations, is the Supreme Lord. That is here. And it is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayadhakshena prakriti swate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagadvi parivartate. They do not see who is behind this explanation. That is their ignorance or poor fund of knowledge. We have got practical experience that no explosion takes place without the touch of a human being. Similarly, even there is explosion going on, but there is a touch of the Supreme Being. That is the statement in the Bhagavad Gita, Mayadhakshena. We are seeing the explosion. There's a child sees the explosion. He does not know that behind the explosion there is the management of a superior being. This is childish observation, because in Shastra we see that behind everything the hand of the Supreme Being is there, and by our practical experience also we see that matter does not act automatically without being touched by a living being. So how we can accept this argument that the explosion is going on automatically? What is the evidence? There is no evidence. So this is not. Besides that, we have to accept the Vedic injunction, Shastric injunction, not nonsensical theories. If we are guided by nonsensical theories, then we will never be able to understand how things are going on. Panthastu koti shatavastha sampragamya vayurathapi manasu munipungavana sappastija prapadashimna avichintatate govindamadi purusam tamaham. You can go on observing one after another by many years. Many years. Just like if you start your jet plane from here to see where is the original cause. Panthas koti satavas. And go on for many millions of years with the speed of mind. Panthastu koti shatavasra sambhar. Koti shatavasra. Millions and millions of years. And panthastu koti shatavasra sampragamma vayuratha. This airplane, Vayurath. Vayurath means airplane. There airplane, there are different speed. What is the speed? The speed is mental speed. Now their speed, say 18,000 miles per hour. But if there is question of mental speed, it is more speedier than the Vayu speed. We have got experience, many thousand miles by your mind you can reach within a second. So with the mental speed, airplane, if you start today and go for many millions of years, still it will be not possible to find out where from the explosion is coming. So that is not the way. Therefore, Shruti Pramana. Shruti Pramana means from the Vedic evidence we have to understand. Now just like in the Vedas, it is said, Jalajanam Lakhani. In the Vedas all knowledge is there. All the living entities described fully and with minute exact quantity. Now within the water, we understand from the Vedic literature, there are 900,000 forms of aquatics. Now, the modern scientists, how many they have observed or studied? But it is said exactly 900,000. Jalajanam Lakhani, Savara Lakhavingsati. Of course, you cannot enter within the water. But on the land, now, different species of plants and trees, and that is 2 million. How many the botanists have studied? 2 million. Savara Lakhavingsati. Even in your country, in your village, you will find daily some new vegetable. You see. So, these are the Vedic calculation. And not only that, there are different species of life and how they are working, what senses are predominant in each and every life. Everything is described. Everything is very minutely described. Therefore, if we want to have knowledge, we cannot do it by mental speculation. We should know that our mind is very, very limited. Simply by theorizing, it is not possible. Therefore, tad vijnanartham sa gurumeva vidachet samit prani srutinam brahmanishtam. So, we have to know from the supreme authority or the Vedas, then the knowledge will be perfect. Otherwise, so original creative energy is coming from this Karanabdhishayi Vishnu. This is confirmed in Brahma Samhita. Jasyaika nishasita kalamathavalamba jivanti loma vilaja jagadannanatha. See, Jagadannanatha, here it is also said, Ajanda, Jagadanna or Ajanda. The same thing, or Brahmanda. The same meaning. Aja means Brahma. So, the Brahma is the head of this Anda. It is egg-like. This whole universe is like an egg, Anda. So as from the Anda, from the egg, a bird is coming out. Similarly, from this egg-like substance, Aja has come. Aja means who does not take birth like other human being or animals, but from this Anda. So, Karanabdhi Sai Vishnu, another name is Ajanna Sanghasrayanga. His whole body is producing universes. Ajanna Sanghasraya. Sanghasraya means aggregate, congregation. Just like we have got holes on the body, pores in the body, so we do not know even how many pores are there in my body. But it is a fact. We cannot, even in a localized head, we cannot count how many pores are there from which the hairs are coming. Is it possible to count? And how many pores are there in our body? This is a little body. And just imagine Mahavishnu, therefore his name is Mahavishnu, from his pores of the body the universes are coming. From his nostril, with the breathing, universes are coming. So just imagine how many universes are there. The whole body is full of potency to produce universes. And it is continually being produced. Brahma brihatyat bringhanatyat. This is the creation. And how you can accept this theory that there was a chunk, an explosion, and the universes became manifest. And these things are being accepted. Mura nabhijanati mameva paramabhajam. These rascals, muras, they do not know, and misleadings. Andhajathandhai rupaniyamana. These rascals are blind, and they are leading some other blind men, and they are satisfied that we have got all scientific knowledge. That's all. That is not the way of scientific knowledge. If you want scientific knowledge, then you should know from Krishna. That is scientific knowledge. Jnanam me paramam guhyam jad vijnana samannitam. Vijnana samannitam. So we do not, I mean to say, become proud to have very, very scientific, accurate knowledge by speculation. We are not such people. We are taught by the parampara system that we are humble servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and what our Master says, we accept. That's all. We do not like to be foolishly proud to have full knowledge of this universe, of this creation. We have full knowledge, but we understand in this way. This is called parampara system. Just like in the Vedas, take for example the Brahma Samhita, it is spoken by Lord Brahma. Brahma has got the full knowledge. Teni Brahma Rida Adi Kavaye. Because the full knowledge was given. Full knowledge of creation was given to Brahma. We do not accept this nonsense theory that there was no human being, and later on they become gradually civilized, and for the last 200 years only they have got the intelligence, scientific knowledge. We do not accept these nonsense theories. Our understanding is the first creation is the most intelligent human being, Brahma. Not that there was no human being or any living being. No, the first creation is the most perfect or intelligent living being. This is our theory. Not theory, it is the Vedic evidence. And he got full knowledge from the Supreme. Tene Brahmarida Adi Kavi, the original learned person. And then he compiled Vedas, giving full knowledge, what he experienced. And the Brahma Samhita is there. It is written by Brahma. And in the Brahma Samhita, the Karanabdhishai Vishnu is mentioned, Jasyaika Nishasita Kalamathavalamba Jivanti Loma Vilaja. It is not that we are accepting this verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita author. No, it is confirmed by the Vedic knowledge. This is the origin of creation. Not that this chunk or matter cannot expand. Matter, when there is reaction, that's like explosion. We have got experience that there is some time explosion, like if you mix together two chemicals, acid and alkali, there is explosion for the time. But this explosion takes place when a chemist in the laboratory mixes soda bicarb and citric acid. Otherwise it is not possible. So, this is wrong theory that matter automatically takes explosion or something like that. Matter is handled by some superior living being. Then it explodes or whatever you call, it reacts, otherwise it is not possible. And because the living being takes the superior position for explosion of matter or reaction of matter, therefore in the Bhagavad Gita it is admitted that the matter is handled by the living being, it is inferior energy. Both of them are energies of the Supreme Lord. But one is superior energy, another is inferior energy. That is the statement in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhumirapo analo vayu, these material things, earth, water, air, fire, they are inferior energy. And Krishna says, aparayam, they are inferior. There is another superior energy. Aparayam itastu viddhime prakriting para. There is another superior energy. And what is that superior energy? Jiva bhuta, this living entity. Jiva bhuta mahabhava. The superior energy is not produced by the inferior energy. That is nonsense. The inferior energy is produced by the superior energy. This is perfect. We have got experience that the superior controls the inferior, not that inferior controls the superior. Where you get all this idea? Therefore it has been described as apara and para prakriti. And what is that para prakriti? Jiva bhuto mahabhavo jayedam dharjate jagat. The whole world is being manipulated by this superior energy. We have got experience that a human being, an engineer, he is creating a skyscraper building. Not that skyscraper building is creating an engineer. Where is this theory? So these are all nonsense, simply nonsense, mura. Of course, we use this word, mura, and people become very angry. But what can you do? The muras must be explained as muras. And because the muras are going as intelligent, therefore there is chaotic condition. Then it is confirmed. So our Krishna consciousness movement is to become intelligent, not to remain muras, and to expose these rascal muras. That is our Krishna consciousness. So you must be prepared while making propaganda. Expose these muras. That is one of the service of Krishna. Don't remain foolish. Wherever there is required, fight with these muras and tell them rightly, straightforward, that you are muras.
Next is a class on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Volume 1, Chapter 1, Text number 10, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on April 3rd, 1975, in Mayapur, India.
I offer my full obeisances under the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu sprouts the lotus, that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets.
Jasya angsangsang, jasya angsangsha, sila garbhodakshai, jannabhi abjam loka sanghato nalam, lokasastru sutika dhama dhatu, tang Sri Nityananda Ramam prapadde. We have already discussed Karanodakshai, which is the plenary portion of Sankarshan. Now, from Karanodakshai is Garbhodakshai. Garbhodakshai means this within the womb or bottom of this universe there is a ocean, big ocean. And in that ocean the plenary portion of Karanodakshai Vishnu enters. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Vishtavya aham idam krishnam ekangsena sthito jagat. By one portion, the Karanodakshai Vishnu enters each universe, and within that universe he creates a ocean by his perspiration. Now, there are so many questions how these oceans are created. The scientists say that it is a combination of hydrogen and oxygen gas. So where from this gas came? The answer is here. Of course, from the gas, water comes out. If you cover on boiling pot the gas, the vapor coming, and you will find spots of water. So from the gas, the water comes, and from the water gas comes. This is nature's way. But the original water came from the perspiration of this Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Just like you have got perspiration, you can produce, say, 1 gram or say 1 ounce of water through your bodily heat. That you have got practical experience. So if you can produce 1 ounce of water from your body, why God cannot produce volumes and millions of tons of water from his body? Where is the difficulty to understand? You are a teeny soul and you have got a small body. You can produce 1 ounce of water by your perspiration. Why God, who has got the gigantic body, he cannot produce water, the Garbhodak water? There is no reason to disbelieve. This is called Achinta Shakti, inconceivable power. Unless you accept inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning of God. If you think a person means like me or you, yes, like me or you, God is also person. That is accepted in the Vedas. Nitya Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. There are many Chetanas, living entities, and they are all eternal. They are many, plural number. Nitya Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam. But there is another Nitya, Nitya Nityanam, 2. One is singular number and one is plural number. What is the distinction? The distinction is eko jo bahunam vidadati kama. That singular number is particularly so powerful that he is supplying the necessities of all the plural number. The plural number are the living entities, anantaya kalpate. There you cannot count how many living entities are there, but they are to be maintained by the singular number. That is the distinction. God is person, you are also person, I am also person. We exist eternally, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said to Arjuna that you, me, all the soldiers and kings who have assembled there, it is not that they did not exist in the past. They are existing at present and they will continue to exist in that way in the future. That is called Nityanam, Chetananam. So this is the process of creation. That the Garbhodakshaya, Karanodakshaya Vishnu, from his breathing, he created from the breathing, from the pores of the body, he created innumerable universes, and in each and every universe he entered again. And entering there, he produced a lotus flower. Within the stem of that lotus flower, there are so many planets. Just see the gigantic lotus stem. These are to be known from the Shastra. You cannot imagine how the creation takes place. Huge creation. That's sort of explanation. There was a chunk and it exploded. No, these are not explanations. Here is explanation. In the Shastra. Shastra Chakkhusha. You have to see by your shastric eyes, not your limited speculative eyes. That will not help us. Such gigantic business, you are a teeny soul, your brain is very small, you cannot imagine the process of creation by your sporadic thoughts. That is not possible. So the creation means, first of all, the universes are created through the breathing period of Karan's Udakshai Vishnu. Then each and every universe he enters as Garbhodakshai Vishnu and he creates half of the universe is filled up with water. The water came from his perspiration and then he lies down there. Then he creates the lotus flower and upon the lotus flower Brahma is first born. This is creation. That Brahma means not an uncivilized human being, the most intelligent person, first creation. We cannot accept the rubbish theory of Darwin that there was no human being. That is his theory, that's not fact. He admits also that I have made this by speculation. He has admitted. Our Dr. Sarup Damodar has quoted from his letter to a friend. He admits that he simply speculated. He has no factual knowledge. So you cannot understand the method of creation by your teeny brain speculation. You give up this idea. This is not possible at all. You take knowledge from the Shastra, from the person who is perfect in knowledge. We have got knowledge, you have got knowledge, somebody has got more knowledge than me, than you. But Krishna says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchij asti dhananjaya. You cannot find out a person who has got more knowledge than Krishna. And God means one who has got full knowledge. Vaisajyasya samagrasya bijasya jasasya sriya jnana jnana vairagyasya sara iti bhavangana. So, Krishna has got full knowledge and Krishna's expansion has got full knowledge. So we have to receive knowledge. The same thing is supported in the Bhagavad Gita. Athava bahunaitena kingyatena tabharjana vishtavya aham idam krishnam ekanshena sthitu jagat. This whole material creation is existing in one part of his energy. That is also confirmed in the Brahma Sangha. Ekapasau rachayatam jagadanda koti. One part of his energy just to create the whole universes, the material world. Ekapasau rachayatam jagadanda koti. Andantarasthang paramanuchayantarasthang. He does not enter only within the universe, andantarasthang, but he enters within the atom. Paramanuchayantarasthang. Govindamadi purusam tamam. Jat Shakti Rasti Jagadanna Chaya Jadantam. Jat Shakti, whose energy is there within the universe. And Ananta, that is, their universes are Ananta, unlimited. That is creation. You cannot conceive of the creation by your this teeny brain. That is not possible. That is Dr. Frog's philosophy. He is contemplating about the Atlantic Ocean, living in a 3-foot well. That is not possible. So, this is the process of lokasastu sutika dhama dhatu. Dhatu means one who creates. So, Brahma is the secondary creator. Krishna or Vishnu, he creates the situation. Then he gives him a seat, that lotus flower like. And when he was puzzled in the beginning, everything was dark. He could not understand where from I am coming, what is my duty, why I am sitting here. When he was puzzled, then from within there was dictation that you meditate, tapa, you undergo austerities, then you will gradually understand. So even Brahma, the first creature of this creation, he had to meditate. Why I am here? And what is the purpose of my coming? So, we are also in the same position. We are the it's a dynastic expansion of Brahma. Brahma's son is Manu, or the sun god. Manusha. Manusha means coming from Manu. Therefore we are called Manusha. So, the same process. We are born ignorant. Born ignorant. Human life is a chance to dissipate this ignorance. And that requires tapasya. Not to live like cats and dogs, frivolous life. That will not help us. Tapa. Tapo dibbamajena putraka suddheta satta. That human life is meant for tapasya, austerities. Not to live extravagant life, irresponsible life, like cats and dogs. No, that is not human life. That is animal life. So therefore Shastra says that you undergo austerities, then your existence will be purified, and then pure knowledge you will get, and you will understand what is your position, why you are in this material world, why you are suffering the threefold miseries, why you are obliged to die, why you are obliged to become old man. So many things you have to learn. But if we learn like cats and dogs, then we spoil our life. As Brahma, the first created being, had to undergo tapasya to get information from the Supreme. The Supreme Lord is within you. He is there. But he will advise when you are fixed up by tapasya, determined with bhav, then he will talk to you. He is ready to talk, but you require to acquire the qualification to hear him. And what is that qualification? This Krishna consciousness, devotional service. As it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, Tesam satatu juktana Bhajatang priti purvakam. Such persons don't do it. Teshang satata juktana. Satata means always, 24 hours. Not that 5 minutes I meditate and rest of the time I live like cats and dogs. No. This kind of meditation will not help you. Krishna says, satata. Satata means 24 hours. You have to mold your life in such a way that 24 hours you will think of Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. If you think that I have chanted my 16 rounds, now I have finished my business, now I can do whatever nonsense I like. No. Krishna says no. Sadhata. Therefore we have to plan our life in such a way that we haven't got any other engagement than service of Krishna. This is required. Tisham satata juktana. Satata means 24 hours. Jukta means engaged. What for? What is that engagement? Bhajatang. Bhajatang. Bhaja. Sivayam. To serve Krishna. Bhajatang. How? Priti purvakam. Not that, Krishna has said, all right, let me do. No, with love and affection. Then we'll get attachment. Unless you develop love for Krishna, you cannot be engaged 24 hours. That is not possible. Therefore it is said, Priti purvakam. Not officially, but with love. If you acquire this qualification, then you will talk with Krishna who is within your heart. He will give you instruction so that you can get rid of this hellish condition of life and go back to home and back to home.